Hello and welcome to Vinn Explore, our lunch talk on the belief that sharing is caring. Normally we welcome you to our stairs, but these days, due to the circumstances, we're doing a streaming lunch talk instead. My name is Caroline Krenzler and I'm one of the founders of Vinn Group. We founded Vinn Group in 2008 based on trends such as digitalization, urbanization and environmental effects. Vinn is a startup platform for highly niched companies, and we're of course looking for new talents that are eager to start together with us. Today's topic is Goodbye Normal. We are right now in the midst of a crisis that are even worse than we started in 2008, and we see that the trends that I mentioned are even stronger. So therefore it's highly important that you future-proof both your products, services and your business. A company that has done that is a high-performance electrical car brand called Polestar. Polestar, against all odds, has built up a completely new digital ecosystem for direct sales and delivery and service globally, together with Amazon Web Services and Vinn. So now you're all welcome to Polestar Dev House here at Vinn and to meet Fredrik, Anne and Johan. Follow me.
So, welcome to the Polestar Dev House and especially welcome to Mr.
Fredrik Magnusson.
Annie Månsson.
Johan Ekholm.
So, I would want to start asking you, Fredrik, how come has Polestar done this journey and why selling cars digitally directly to consumers?
We started off in 2017 with sort of launching the Polestar electric car brand, and we have basically been working since then, building up our business and capability in now 10 different countries, and we are now selling our cars, and our first cars will now come out to customers. Actually, they came out with the Polestar 1 now in the beginning of the year, and then we'll during summer, after summer, we will start now also moving into selling or handing over our second car, Polestar 2.
What is unique with the Polestar new digital ecosystem?
I mean, what we realized like 1 year ago is that we have a shitload of things that we need to do in a quite short period of time, and we also was not 100% clear in exactly what we wanted. So we needed something that's scaled, we needed something that is quick and flexible, and we can continuously adjust to the need we have at the point. So, and I mean, a scaling organization focusing on speed. That's very much what we built up, I think.
Good.
That's what I see, at least.
And how do you now live up to the expectations of a completely new generation of digital natives that has the internet as a new normal?
I mean, sort of like I would assume that that's what everyone is fighting now, trying to understand how we transform a traditional business into something which is somewhat new, perhaps, or not new. It depends how you see it. I mean, sort of like the expectation is, of course, that you should have all the capabilities in any given point of time, independent of if you are sitting in the car, in our case, or if you are sitting in your sofa at home, or if you are out tracking, or if you're out running. You should sort of continuously be connected. And I mean, sort of we need to safeguard that moving between these different channels is transparent, sort of, or that you can move without any problems. And safeguarding that. And then if you wouldn't like to do it, then you shouldn't need to do it. But there should always be the opportunity to do it if we would like to, or the customers would like to.
So what does it mean to redefine the norm of a complete industry such as the traditional automotive industry?
I mean, sort of it's a lot of fun, excitement, a lot of energy, innovation, and passion about trying to find a new way forward. And I mean, that's of course obviously not the answer you would like to have on that question, but I mean sort of that's what we need. And I mean sort of the collaboration we have now with the team here and also with other parties, and especially together with Volvo Cars as well, of course, is that we try to get that and really help ourselves to move to the next level of thinking and being innovative in our way of pushing things to the market. Obviously it's not super easy always, because sort of there are tickets to play that we need to establish, but it's a shitload of fun.
Yeah, that's great. So Amazon, which technology, if you go a bit deeper into the technology side of it, provides flexibility and scalability?
Yes, of course. So companies like Polestar that really want to go digital and especially getting closer to consumers, there is really like the core answer is cloud. That's basically one of the components. And also to leverage the platform to take away, so you don't want to reinvent the wheel and build a lot of infrastructure services like typically a new company in the past would get a data center and you would buy a lot of servers and employ a lot of people to manage all those servers. You can actually skip all those pieces and go very quickly into the cloud. So like AWS has about a bit over 175 different Lego pieces or services that you can use to build whatever solution you want. And then on top of that, you put your business logic, the things that are important for you that are differentiating for Polestar. But they need, of course, someone to work with to help them assemble the right pieces together into something that works.
And that has been, I think, one of the core or key success factors for this whole adventure, to not have to put anything or any effort into solving things that someone else could solve for you, but only focus on the things that are actually unique for Polestar and solving those needs rather than the bread and butter of the IT industry, if you will.
Yeah, because it's quite a unique setup that you have created here regarding, both an entrepreneurial spirit, but also a self-driving organization. How have you managed to do that, all of you?
It's really part of something that we have discussed since the beginning, that you need to be able to scale this really well. And one of the only ways to scale that in an efficient way and sort of keep being sort of pushing forward is to also have people that want to do that. You need the culture to promote that kind of behavior. And it starts with key stakeholders such as Fredrik and sort of wanting to go in that direction, but then also having the right talent on board to actually sort of keep going that way. And you need to be able to let people take ownership of the individual pieces. So it's a delegation of not only responsibility, but a true sense of ownership of not just delivering a piece of code or anything, but actual business value. And trying to reach that state or that culture is one of the things that we have really focused on in this setup, to sort of empower people to have that drive with that.
And that is probably one of the largest challenges for companies, OEMs, or enterprises in general, that typically organizations are quite siloed. You have your developers, you have your QA people, you have your ops people. No one is solely responsible, so you can always blame someone else. But this way of building things in a small team that everyone is accountable for what you build, that is really what gives the speed. And also like the engineers typically that work in that way, they feel more energized, like because they are accountable. You feel proud of what you're actually building because you are making sure that it works. And we at Amazon, we also have this saying, like if you build it, you run it. So making sure that you actually think about not just only that it performs, it should work nicely with your customers, but also thinking about things like cost. So that's something that you get a business mind also with the engineers, not just like producing code. They are actually part of the business.
So Fredrik, how do you create a seamless digital experience?
I guess you don't. Or yeah, how do you do that? I think that's like the 10,000 kroner question. It's like, how do you really do that, and how do you do it across the different countries and regions and technology and channels and I think if you have the ambition to do that, then you need to focus on it, but you shouldn't be you will not do it in the first try. If you're trying to do that from the beginning, it will be basically impossible. So you need to continuously develop, having the strategy, moving to that direction, and sort of continuously working towards it. And then learn from the past and improve. And continuously improvement, I think sort of continuous improvement is the right answer. Because I mean, sort of this seamless interaction is probably changing over time. You will probably start in one end and then end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and it's also on different levels. I mean, it takes vision to have that and keep that vision intact, to always strive for having a cohesive journey or making it seamless across multiple devices, multiple channels, and applications for that matter as well. And then there are many levels all the way down to the building blocks, to try to keep the same building blocks, to have the same interactions all the way down there, and building experiences with the same touch and feel, and so it goes through the whole sort of organization. Everyone needs to have that as part of their daily work.
And I really think what you said is important about you don't really know what the future looks like in detail, so you have to be able to iterate and try out things very quickly to go to market. So that's also something in the past that was spent a lot of time on requirements gathering, and you spend a lot of time developing stuff and then you put it to market. But now you can actually go out to deploy. You can test things like blue-green deployments to see what actually works, what do customers react to in a totally different way that you couldn't years ago. So
that's also a mindset that I which is it's been a privilege to work with Polestar, with that kind of mindset, that it's better to take one step in a somewhat right direction and try it out. And if you discover that it wasn't exactly the thing that you needed, well, then you can iterate, or you can take a different direction. But it's okay to experiment or to try new things. That's really a key part of that as well, to be able to do that.
And you need to dare to do that. I mean, sort of,
yes.
it's much better to do something than nothing. Because at one point, either time or customer or our competitor is making the decision how it should be. It's better that we are trying to make that decision ourselves.
Yes, and you can be unique. Instead of following someone else, you can actually be the leader by trying out new things.
But you need to be brave,
yes,
and have brave leaders and a brave organization.
Yeah, or stupid. I don't know. It's a combination of both.
That's a good start. Okay, if we come in then to what does a serverless solution mean in the cloud, Anna?
Yes, so serverless is kind of a new concept. It's a couple of years old, but if I just take a step back and explain why it matters compared to servers. So in the past, or well, actually it's still very much reality, but if you build applications using servers, you need to have skilled people who understands operating systems. They need to understand how to patch operating systems. They need to understand how to install middleware. It's a lot of like infrastructure competency that you need. and it takes time to set this up in the beginning. Even though you're using cloud, you can automate a lot, but it's still loss of time, and you also need specific skills to do that. What we see customers and what they have been asking us is can you please take care of that underlying structure, because we don't want to spend our valued people working on that, because that is not differentiating for us. We want to work on just building the code on top. So that's when we came up with the serverless platform at AWS. So we have everything from the compute part, where you basically just deploy your code I think one of the key things that attracted me to serverless many years ago is really that we talk about cloud, that you pay for what you use, but then you buy a server, you pay for that server, but if you don't use it, you kind of still pay for it, because you have it there. It might be idling, but you pay for it. In serverless, you put your code in the cloud, and if no one is actually calling your code, you don't pay anything. But if it scales up, and let's say you have a campaign, and suddenly you have like thousands of people trying to get to that code, it will scale up automatically, and you don't even have to think about it. And that has been both good and bad, or I would say good in both directions. So in this situation we are now, we see definitely some businesses growing very quickly, where they can scale up very quickly using serverless platforms, and other businesses that currently are declining. So we see like travel industry, hospitality, things like that, but they don't have to worry about the scale down, because it doesn't only scale up, it actually scales down.
Okay,
So if you look at the companies that are like Expedia is one of our serverless customers. So they have the possibility to scale up and scale down with their business.
What do you think, Johan?
It gives us, well, that of course, it gives us the sort of freedom to focus on the Polestar unique business issues, or what we need to solve for Polestar, and we can just let vendors that focus on infrastructure or IT focus on that. So Amazon is a great partner in that we can sort of offload that part to someone else and just focus our efforts on what really matters for Polestar. But that could be with any sort of technology. What serverless really also gives us is speed in the way that we can let anyone of our developers deploy pretty much the whole digital ecosystem on their own at any time, because it doesn't bring any cost, it doesn't bring any sort of extra overhead. It's all automated, and only if we drive traffic to it does it actually cost us anything. But that capability to spin up anything at any time for any developer really lowers the bar of innovation. It makes the teams work much quicker, because they don't need to request accounts or sort of request a budget to deploy a new thing. I mean, they can deploy pretty much anything that we have in our whole digital ecosystem at any time by themselves if they want to.
And when I reflect on this a little bit, I mean, it's I think we have spent zero time discussing infrastructure in all the work we do, which means that we have been focusing on delivering business value instead. And if I look at the past, when I started working in the last millennia a bit in the end, I mean, sort of half of the time was discussing, okay, should we buy this server or that server? Should we buy this or that? Or I mean, now we can focus on what actually brings value to the business rather than just plumbing.
Yeah, all the prerequisites are always done, pretty much.
So, what should we bring up now? If my company is facing a similar journey, actually Vinn, what are the 3 most important things to think about?
I would say that it starts with the culture or the mindset, and part of that is also the stakeholder. There needs to be someone that says that we need to do this, and takes that responsibility and sort of pushes that initiative, and it's a cultural thing and an internal organizational thing. I mean, if there is no willingness to change or embark on a journey like this, it will never happen. It's not something that comes automatically, and that's one of the key things that you did very early on. Took that sort of decision that yes, we need to do this, and that's one of the key things I would say. Another one is having the right people. You need talented developers, you need service designers, you need UX UI, you need all kinds of talented people to help you also execute on these ideas, of course. Without people, it won't happen. It won't build itself, or it won't sort of create itself out of nothing. And then also a sort of an understanding that it's a continuous journey. You're never going to be done. You said that it's continuous improvement, and that's what it really is. Of course, there is an initial sort of build-up phase, but you're never going to be done. It's always going to be the next thing, and having that mindset already from the beginning, that's one of the key factors, I would say.
And I would absolutely iterate on that as well. So even our CEO, Andy Jassy, said during our last reInvent that one of the key things to get the agility in companies is that you need stakeholders, executive stakeholders that actually are enforcing that agenda, because otherwise it's not going to happen. And again, the talent, absolutely agree. And I think the talent is, I think that's where companies maybe struggle in the beginning. But I've seen those companies that actually also invest both in working with partners like you, but also companies that invest in training their people. Those are the ones that are very successful into this journey. But it's a knowledge, a skill transfer. You need to relearn. You can't really rely on you can rely on some of your old skills, but you really need to rethink.
Absolutely. And I can confidently say that not one of our developers going into this had 100% understanding of all the tools that we use, or all the methods or the ways of working. But it's a journey that many people want to embark on. It's interesting to learn new things, new tools, new ways of working, and we've seen that has also been a sort of key part of finding the right people.
Exactly.
The right people are the ones that are willing to do that, that are willing to learn new tools, new ways of working, and keep improving.
Yeah, because that changes all the time. So you will have new services to come up. You will have new frameworks. You have new programming languages. So if you're not willing to relearn all the time, then so it's not like, okay, I go this training course and then I'm done. You have to have this constant learning. I want to be willing to do that, because some of us love to do that, others don't. So it's about finding the right people with the right passion.
And then I guess new customer demands all the time as well.
Yeah, everything constantly changes. So.
Yeah.
But I was reflecting about this as well. So if we would do this journey again, what would be the most important thing? I mean, sort of, it's super easy afterwards to sort of read or sort of write the history and say, okay, if you do this and that, there are like tons of management books talking about how brilliant everything became just because I made this decision. But I think like half of the time is all about luck. And I mean, sort of, you need to be a bit lucky. You need sort of it's more coincidence than strategy. It's more about being in the right place at the right time than having a big plan. And I think that sort of if you look through the sort of the journey that we have done sort of together, and also before that, it's been so many 180-degree turns. So I mean, sort of, if we would have planned this from the beginning, we could never have foreseen something.
No, but that's one of the key things also then, to be able to do those turns, to be able to take a new step in a new direction when you find out that this wasn't really what we wanted, needed, or didn't solve our needs. Then to be able to do that is something that not all organizations can do as is, and that's what I I at least interpret as part of the culture of an organization, or the sort of understanding that it's and willingness to experiment, to take steps in possibly the wrong direction, and not plan everything ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
And
not
then you need to have a lot of lucky people as well.
yeah, only lucky people.
So yeah, culture, talent,
Yeah.
luck, braveness.
Braveness, yeah, willing to take risks, I would say, and also allowing people to fail. I think that is a very cultural thing. If you expect everyone to be correct all the time, nothing is going to happen. But allowing them to fail and pivot and do something else, I think that's a key component.
It's a good entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
Thank you very much for very interesting talks today, and thank you all for listening. We hope for the very bright future for both this project and Polestar, Amazon and Yalta. And looking at the bright future, we also have a sun, and therefore I want to thank you with a few glasses. And these are actually designed by one of the Vinn companies called Vinn. So please, thank you very much, Fredrik.
Okay.
Anne,
Thank
you.
you.
And Johan.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye. A lot.